Hey guys, if you haven't already, give the video a like, subscribe to my channel. This is a what if series and I'll be doing more down the road. Plus Ultra. Hey guys, and welcome to What If Naruto Was Like Itachi Part 2. So, originally I said that this was going to be the entirety of the series. I hope it's going to be the entirety of the series. I meant to say in Part 1. Let's just see how this one goes and how long it takes to do it. Well, not do it because this should be like an hour and 30 minutes long. Should be. But you guys are outstanding. You guys are plus ultra. You guys are our huge support to this series. I mean, I didn't even know I was going to get that far. Over 8,000 views and 8,000 views and 500 likes. Now, if we could do that same kind of energy for Part 2, same amount of detail that I put in for Part 1, put in for Part 2, I won't disappoint. Now, anyway, I want to thank you guys for the 9,000 subscribers. I want to thank you so much. We're so close to 10,000 subscribers. And when I hit that goal, I'm going to release something huge. Huge. I promise you. After I finish everything on this channel. I mean, we got a while to go before we get there. But sorry it took me so long, possibly like 5 days, like a week since this first part of this video came out. It was so much detail that I just had to pack into one video. So I'm gonna let you guys know now. If it is a part 3 to this series, which is possibly, most likely 100% gonna be the final. If there is a part 3, which fingers crossed, I hope there's not gonna be, I want the like goal to reach somewhere around 200 to 300 likes. I mean, given the fact that you guys reached an outstanding, like you surpassed the like goal in the first video so much so that I have to raise it to like 200 to 300 likes. If you can reach that like goal, and if I happen to have a part 3, then anyway, let's get into the video. So, after Naruto just got bamboozled by Orochimaru due to a Sharingan having a huge, like a strain on them from using it too much, Orochimaru took that opportunity to bite Sasuke on the neck and give him the curse mark, while Sakura's on the back foot, basically traumatized from this whole experience. I mean, this kind of fear she's never felt before. I mean, Zabuza and fighting all those like ninjas on the bridge and everything was one thing, but in this forest, she truly feels fear. She truly feels scared of losing her life. She now sees that this really isn't a game. I mean, the only reason they ever got past like that whole debacle or that whole situation in the Land of Wave is because Naruto and Sasuke, well, Naruto mostly is as skilled, like he's almost as skilled as, like almost, he's possibly on the same level as Kakashi Sakura assumed. Sorry for stuttering there. So, and he was a top kid, like top student in the class, so of course. Anyway, so Sakura, while she's sitting there traumatized, Naruto basically gets off the ground and dusts himself off. And then he looks over at Sasuke. Naruto rushes over to Sasuke to check if he's still alive, and he feels a pulse. He senses Sasuke still breathing, and Naruto just lets out a sigh, saying, thank goodness. He picks Sasuke up and puts him on his back, and he looks towards Sakura, tapping her on the shoulder. And this is where Naruto tells her, Sakura. And she would start crying, bawling out crying, saying that this world really is dangerous. I could have nearly lost my life 100 times over. This is where Naruto would tell Sakura that a Kunoichi, if you want to become a strong Kunoichi, you should not shed tears like that. You only shed tears when in the face of glory, or when you've protected someone. When you've saved lives, countless lives. Don't pity yourself. Don't call yourself weak. That's what you're getting ready to do right now, I assume. Stand up and put a smile on your face, Sakura. Naruto would turn to Sakura with a warm smile, so comforting that it stops her from crying. And Naruto looks at Sakura and says, nobody's weak. With enough hard work, with enough training and patience, time, you will become a strong Kunoichi. I will see to that. I will not let you die. I will not let Sasuke die, or my Jonin instructor Kakashi Hatake. I won't let my friends vanish from this world. Because until I reach my goal, I want you all to be by my side. Naruto stands up and looks at Sakura. Now, let's get out of here before that freak comes back. So as Sakura starts following Naruto as he's running with Sasuke, they jumping from tree to tree and they make it to the main building. And obviously they're the first ones there. Now Naruto sits down on to the near wall and he wants to take a nap due to he just tired from that battle with Orochimaru. And this is where Naruto, as he's finna sit down, he notices something that he wants to talk to Hiruzen about. So he takes him to the side and he says, Lord Third, I want you to keep an eye out. And he says, why, Naruto? Because due to the experience my team had in the Forest of Death, I was going to go over there and take a nap and rest up before this whole preliminaries thing started. But I want to let you know that Orochimaru attacked my team. And he put a curse mark on Sasuke's neck. I managed to seal it, but I don't know how much that'll do. And this is where Kakashi would raise an eyebrow saying, oh, so Orochimaru was in the Forest of Death. I'm supposing that he had a disguise on. This is what Kakashi would say. Most likely. He had some kind of skin disguise that we couldn't really tell it was him, but I knew all too well. And it's possibly the snakes gave it away. Now, this is where Hiruzen would be on full alert. And he would already know what this person looks like. Now, Naruto would say, I think his cover was already blown. I mean, when we were fighting him in the Forest of Death, his skin started to peel. So if you see him covering his face, possibly pretending to be like a Hokage or something, then you should be you need to be very, very suspicious. Very, very aware, Lord Third. I'm going to take a nap. Now, everything would play out per normal with this part without the teams coming in and all the teams reaching the area. And Neji, Gaara, most of the teams will be shocked that Naruto's team is there first. And this is where Naruto and Sasuke would start to wake up. Now, sorry, I had to swallow there. Now, Hiruzen would go into the preliminaries round, and he would start discussing the matches and the layouts and what ninjas had to do. Basically, be the feature opponent and move on to the next round. Anyway, so the first match would be Sasuke versus the chakra-stealing dude, whatever his name was. Sasuke would easily body the shit out of this dude. Remember when I told you that Sasuke's Sharingan is in his 3 Tomoe stage? It's not fully developed. He's still getting used to it, put it that way. But any kind of used to it, it is fully developed, but still getting used to it anyway. He's seen the guy's attacks coming for him and easily bodied this guy. I mean, watching Naruto's movement, watching Naruto, he easily came up with his own kind of barrage style and instantly broke the guy's rib cage. I mean, in a brutal fashion. Well, not so much as a brutal fashion, just incapacitated the guy. Now, Sasuke was declared the winner, and the next round would be Kiba and Kiba versus Naruto. Now, this is where Naruto would say, look at Kiba, and as they're walking to the fighting ring, he would look at Kiba and say, I want you to give it your best, Kiba. Now, Kiba would gulp at this, knowing that Naruto is a top student in his classroom, that Naruto won't hold back. Now, Kiba would say, are you gonna use your Mangekyo Sharingan? Not Mangekyo Sharingan. I mean, are you gonna use your Sharingan? Your cleanse Kekkei Genkai on me? That's more like it. He would say that. Sorry, I messed up there. I had Mangekyo Sharingan on there, but I should have just wrote it into the pages Kekkei Genkai. So Kiba said, "Are you gonna use your Kekkei Genkai on me?" And Naruto would say, "No, I'm just gonna use my hands. That's it. That's all, Kiba." Now, this is where Kiba would think in his head, he doesn't even need to use his Sharingan. I'm not even a threat to Naruto. I don't even pose a challenge to him. Now, as soon as they get to the ring, this is where Kiba would just basically tell the instructor, I forfeit. Now, Naruto would be shocked by this, and he would say, wait, what? Why do you forfeit, Kiba? Listen, Naruto, you're the top student in the classroom. Everyone knows this in the stands. You're way stronger than most students in the academy. Jesus Christ, you became a Chunin at the age of 11, I think 10. Possibly was one of those. You joined the Anbu. You were in the Anbu. And Naruto's surprised that Kiba knows this much. And like, well, Naruto said, how do you know all this, Kiba? And says, well, it's not rocket science. I'm not an idiot. I know I don't stand a chance against you. The match would be over in less than 5 seconds fighting against you. Your taijutsu skills, your ninjutsu is just way on another level than it is to mine. I can't beat you. And I'm not just saying that out of fear. It's not fear. It's just, it would be a pointless battle. Because in the end, I know I'm going to lose. And I came to that conclusion when I asked you, would you use your Kekkei Genkai on me? I'm not even strong enough to even stand a chance to you using your, Now Naruto would raise an eyebrow that Kiba came to this conclusion, and the instructor would be like, "Are you sure you don't want to give it a try?" And Kiba just walks away with Akamaru, saying that he needs to train harder. He has an angry scowl on his face, like he's so mad that he had to forfeit. But he had no choice because it wouldn't have proven to giving him any kind of glee, nothing at all. So he just walked away, and Naruto was kind of shocked about that. But Naruto just walked back to the stands. I mean, he wanted to fight, but it was just bummed out that Kiba didn't just try. He didn't give it a chance. Anyway, so Naruto make his way back to stands, and all the other fights would go relatively they'll go normally. Except for Ino and Sakura's fight. Now, Sakura would instantly wipe the floor with Ino. I'm talking about Ino wouldn't even have a chance to do any mind transfer jutsus or anything like that. Ino would get her ass kicked. I'm talking about beat the shit out of. Not like in a brutal way, but just like in canon when they were fighting and punched each other in the face. Yes, it was like that. Ino had no counters to Sakura's techniques. I mean, she was all over the place. And then she put Ino in her Cherry Blossom Genjutsu, which Ino didn't know what was going on, and the instructor just called the match. Now, this is another style of a Cherry Blossom Genjutsu, which made Ino feel like spiders were just crawling all over her, and she would let out this horrifying scream. Now, she would be on the ground screaming and crying, and this is where Sakura would hug Ino and say, "I'm sorry, but I wanted to show you that you need to get stronger. You can't be a fangirl all your life. You need to train harder. Possibly this experience will help you do that." Now, this is where Ino would basically feel the warmth from this hug and basically just pass right out. Sakura would declare the winner and go back to the stands with Naruto giving her a warm smile and saying in his head that you are really growing. And Naruto's proud of Sakura. That fangirlish bullshit that she was showing when the academy started, when she was all over Sasuke being like a wet poodle, it's not even there anymore. It's not even like it's showing. It's like it's invisible or the wall is just gone. Naruto was happy about that. And he smiled, saying that she's becoming yet a strong Konoichi. This fruit is growing strong. Now, all the rest of the battles would play out per normal up until the fight with Hinata and Neji, which that will play out normally. I mean, like I told you before, Naruto has eyes for Ino. So Naruto would instantly go, and Kiba would be the one who stops Neji, not stops Neji, but challenges Neji to a fight. Even though he lost, he tells Neji that I'm going to train so hard, and I'm going to prove to you that hard work can be overcome by raw talent. Because Kiba has a crush on Hinata. And so does Hinata. She has a crush on him. But anyway. So Naruto would go to check up on Ino, and he would be sitting by her bed. And this is where Ino would say, Naruto, you see me lose. And Naruto would say, no, I was seeing you giving it your all. The one thing about a battle is you could never admit defeat or experience defeat if you never put yourself in a situation like that. You took the challenge head on, not knowing if you were going to win or lose. That's the kind of fighter spirit that I know you can grow with, that I know you can become stronger with. You think that one loss will determine your future? That it can spell that you are going to be weak forever? No, it's never that. You are strong. You can be strong. Your mind transfer jutsu can be so potent. All you have to do is train. Have you been training? And Ino would say, no, I have not. Just a little advice. If you do have a crush on me, Ino, one thing you should know is that I like women who can protect themselves in a battle. I like women who have good taijutsu skills, who can become strong enough to protect themselves in a situation where their allies won't be presented to be around them. They're stuck, stranded. If you train your heart out, become stronger, you won't need the help of others. You won't need to depend on your teammates to come save you. I mean, it'll be times for that. But if there's ever a situation to where you're like by yourself, how would you overcome it? How would you get out of a situation like that? Naruto stands up and looks back. I'm not saying this just to get you to train. I'm not basically putting that like sentence out there. Naruto's face would be red as hell, like really red, and he would say, because to be honest, I've had a crush on you when we were in the academy too. Then Naruto leaves the room, and this is where Ino's face, her ears would just be shooting out steam, and she would just be saying in her head that she has to get stronger as she clenches her fist. Now we flash forward to the 1 month training arc. Oh yeah, and I have to do my boy Rock Lee some justice. I have to do him some justice. Now Rock Lee wouldn't get his arm or leg broken by Gaara, seeming as if Naruto was right there in a flash. Like, I'm talking about a flash. You remember when Naruto and Rock Lee first tried to fight each other or something like that? Well, Naruto put a seal on Rock Lee, and he was there in a scarlet crimson flash and grabbed Rock Lee out of the way. Now, this is where Naruto would be like scolded for getting in the way of the battle, but Naruto basically said, "Hey, you on the floor. The match is already over. You've won. You do not need to cause bloodshed or pain like that." He was already down. You well aware that you win, but you wanted to kill him anyways. People like you make me sick. And Naruto looks at Gaara with his Sharingan flaring, saying, "People like you are the reason why the past events are starting to play out in the future." And this is where Naruto would be ready to charge at like Gaara. Like, he wants to eradicate Gaara, eradicate him, just get him out of this world. And Kakashi would be right there and tell Naruto to stop. If you go any further, you will be forfeited, Naruto. Do you want that? This is not how someone like you is supposed to act. Do not let anger overcome you. And Naruto would feel like his nails extending, and his eyes beginning, like he felt like some primal energy, like chakra just raging through him. And Naruto just said, I almost let hatred take over for a minute there. Naruto looks at Gaara and says, "You need to stop letting hatred consume you. It's not going to get you anywhere." Naruto walks off to just says, "I need to go outside to get some fresh air." Now, everything will play out per normal with the battle, like all the battles. Now it's the 1 month training arc. So Kakashi took Sasuke under his wing, Kurenai took Sakura under her wing, and Naruto begged Kurenai to do this, since Kurenai is a good teacher in Genjutsu and can potentize Sakura's skills in Genjutsu, making them way sharper than they already are. Now, Naruto would basically be training on his own and honing his Mangekyo Sharingan and Sharingan abilities, even getting his Taijutsu skills up there and learning more Uchiha Flame style jutsus. Now, Naruto wants to learn more about like a chakra nature, to basically like, not chakra nature, but he already knows his affinity is fire, but also he wants the his potency and lightning style nature. So Naruto creates dozens of shadow clones, basically dozens, like possibly 100 shadow clones, and instantly starts training in lightning style jutsus. Not gonna reveal any of them as of yet, but Naruto has been training very, 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 very hard in lightning style jutsus over and over and over and over. To the end of the 2 weeks, he's on the ground exhausted. See, Naruto's been training day in and day out, basically creating like 10 minutes to where he can eat and rest, but most likely he's been training day in and day out. Now Naruto's past overly exhausted, and he's sitting on the ground, basically like not even being able to stand. Now Naruto's just saying in his head that he has to get stronger. He has to get stronger, so no one will be able to, like, no one will die again. No wars will break out again. Now, Naruto's standing up through sheer willpower. This is sheer willpower that Naruto's standing up through. And he just has this look in his eyes that he has to continue. He can't stop here. He has to keep training as hard as he can. Even if his bones break, he has to keep going. Even if his teeth starts to crack, he has to keep going. If his nail starts to like peel off, or if his arms or muscles starts to weather, he has to keep going. He cannot stop. Naruto's eyes filled with this like shining light of willpower, to the point where he continued for a month straight doing some hard training. And then doing some kind of like visual training, mind training, eye training, taijutsu, ninjutsu, swordplay. Like Naruto was basically doing all the categories that he can in this 1 month training. Now Naruto would not have met Jiraiya. Possibly when he had 2 days, Naruto rested for those 2 days. And on his last day, when he seen Jiraiya Sensei, and this is where Naruto would say, "Oh, you're the pervy sage that Hiruzen was telling you all about. I think you were a part of the legendary Sannin. And if I can remember, it was you, Tsunade, and Orochimaru." That bastard. And this is what Jiraiya would say as he's looking at girls. "Oh, you met Orochimaru?" And Naruto would say, "Yeah, I've met him. I had a tango with him. Me and him got into a sparring match, and he left a curse mark on Sasuke's neck, which I'm still trying to figure out how to get off of him." Naruto looks at Jiraiya, and he says, "Wait, you're the Toad Sage, right?" And Jiraiya says, "Yeah, I am." Naruto looks at Jiraiya and says, "Well, I got 1 day left, and I don't really know too much about summoning jutsus, but I like you to help me with just that one technique." Now Naruto would basically look at Jiraiya, hoping that he would say yes to this, and Jiraiya would say, "Let's see what you're capable of." Now, Jiraiya sees that Naruto is a Chunin, and he heard a lot about Naruto's feats, so he just wants to see them for himself. So he basically goes through all the basics, and Naruto says, "I can already do all that." Naruto walks on water. He does every little technique that Jiraiya has thrown at him, all the basics and everything, and Naruto does them with ease. Naruto even spars with Jiraiya, and Jiraiya noticed that the boy's skill is on low Kage level, high Jonin level, and Jiraiya having a hard time, to point he almost had to use Sage mode. Until Naruto basically said, "I'm not here for a sparring match. I don't have time. I want to spend most of this day just relaxing, but can you please just teach me like a summoning jutsu, like so I can sign a contract or something?" Now Jiraiya would show Naruto the summoning jutsu to summon like the toads from Mount Miyaboku. Well, just to summon anything. So Naruto would sign the contract with blood, and this is where Naruto would look at the contract, and he would do the jutsu with ease, pouring out chakra and summoning summoning the boss Toad. Now, he would be wondering how he got there and noticing that Naruto was standing on his head. Now, Naruto would be looking down at him, and this is where Naruto would say, "I summoned you. Now, you are my summoning contract, but this doesn't go all right with the boss." The boss says, "Oh, no, not yet. If you can manage to stay on my head for a whole day, then I will be your contract." Now, Naruto says, "Okay, He puts a lot of chakra, a lot of chakra in his feet and just crosses his arms and closes his eyes and starts to meditate as the boss starts jumping around at high speeds. And Naruto's just standing as still as a feather. And the only thing he's picturing is sitting in like a widow, like not a widow, like, but a flowery field with a light breeze and cool air and very like darkish blue sky. Now Naruto's sitting there very peaceful. And that's all he's picturing in his head. And the day ends with the boss accepting Naruto as his summoner. Jiraiya would be shot, like he'll be outmazed. I don't even know the word to put it in. Like Jiraiya's mouth is just hanging to the damn floor. He doesn't even know what to say. This boy is really strong. Like he just did a summoning contract in less than, like he didn't even need to train to do it. And possibly he already used some of the Nine Tails chakra. Now Naruto goes back to when he was training for a month and he smiles at this. Naruto looks up at the Nine Tails cage and he says, "Hey, Nine Tails, there has to be another name I can call you by. Why are you so interested?" And Naruto would say, "Well, it's not much of an interest. It's just me trying to make conversation with you. I mean, I just want to be your friend. I want to make you my friend." And the Nine Tails would raise an eyebrow saying, "A human, an Uchiha boy like you, wanting a tailed beast to be your friend." The Nine Tails would laugh hysterically with a loud laugh, like echoing the whole corridor that he was in. And Naruto would just look at him and say, "I'm serious." This is where the Nine Tails will stop laughing and say, look at Naruto. "I want to understand you. I want to learn more about you. I want to learn how you were created. Where did you come from? How your childhood was like. I want to basically talk more with you. I don't want to just use your power just because you're in my body and you have to pay rent or something like that. It's a stupid term. I want to understand and establish a bond between me and you." And the Nine Tails would have never heard anyone talk like that, especially in Uchiha. So this is way different. The Nine Tails would just say, "What do you want? One of these days, I want us to sit back and just imagine, well, just talk. And it sucks that you have to live in a situation like this. It's basically from my mind." Now Naruto would create basically imagine the same kind, like a waterfall, grassy, plain area that's like smooth, it's windy, and it's open. And the Nine Tails would have his eyes wide open. And Naruto would say, "Most likely all my life I felt concealed. I felt like bordered in or closed in. It's possibly why when you were inside this whole mindscape, it presents to me like you're trapped inside of a cage, like you cannot be free, like you're stuck, like there's no way to go for you." And this is where Naruto would look at the Nine Tails and say, "Well, my mind is open now. I'm no longer concealed. I'm no longer boxed in or claustrophobic. I'm open. More open than I ever want to be. Because I know my goal is going to come true someday. I have full hopes for the future. And like I said, my future starts with getting to know you and understanding more about you." The Nine Tails would smile at this. He would turn his head as a tear flowed down his eye. He never heard anyone in his life talk like this, because all his life he's been used as a tool. First person who's ever cared this much about him, if anyone, was the Sage of Six Paths. And he just has like a short reminder of that. He has this kind of energy coming off of him, and it makes Nine Tails shed a tear. And the Nine Tails says, "Anyway, brat, you came here for some chakra, didn't you? Here, take this. It'll help you with that summoning thing. Help you learn it a lot faster. Anyway, thank you, Naruto." Sorry, I had to clear my throat there. And Naruto would look at Nine Tails and he would say, You know my name. Won't you tell me yours? Ninetales would smile and say, Kurama. And Naruto will leave his mindscape. Now that's just something I had to mention right there. Put that little part in. So, anyway, Naruto would look at Jiraiya and he would say, it's not very hard to use the Ninetales power. Well, I'm not going to call him Ninetales. His name is Kurama. Jiraiya would say Kurama. I believe the Ninetales is misunderstood. He's not exactly understood by the way this world is. See, people lash out to what they can't understand. And that's why it's so much pain. I want to establish peace. Become that light bringer. Give people hope. Erase all this hatred. Now, Jiraiya would be even more shocked that this kid has the same kind of philosophy, the same kind of hopes for the future that he has. Because Jiraiya thinks about this too. He wants to just bottle up all that pain, all that hatred in this world and just create peace someday. And this is where Naruto feels this kind of energy off of Jiraiya. And they spent the whole day together just talking, creating a bond between each other like sensei and student. And the smiles that they had together was so like genuine between the two of them that it just, you can feel, if you were there, you could feel the energy that these two are bonding, so, like building a good bond between the two. And for what felt like hours could have been felt like weeks, because the most they did was spending talking, chatting, sparring, training, but most likely all of this happened within a day. And at the end of the day, Naruto would tell his sensei goodnight and get ready for tomorrow, which Jiraiya would definitely be there to watch and witness to what's going on. Now, as everything plays out as normally, Jiraiya would be in his room before we begin the next, the battle phase. Jiraiya would be in his room and he would open a door to this so-called room, and he would have this glass vase, and he would put his hands over the vase. It would just be a black jar. And Jiraiya would say, Minato, thank you for leaving me with these. I feel when the time is right, I will give them to Naruto. And all of a sudden, you just seen like a red glow in this jar. And it fades, the screen just fades to black. Now, everyone is getting ready for the next day of the Chunin exams, or the final battle of the Chunin exams, to declare who will become Chunin. Most likely, Naruto is going to be a Jonin. Now, Naruto basically gets up, puts his clothes on, and cracks his neck once or twice and gets ready for what's to come today. He thinks that he might have to fight Gaara or he has to fight Neji, which either one is going to be a good battle. Now, Naruto is walking with Team 7, and Sakura is going to be going against Temari. Naruto is going to be going against Neji, just like in canon, and Sasuke is going to be going against Gaara. Now, Sasuke would still be training with Kakashi, mastering his Sharingan, getting more used to it, and yeah. Now, like I said, the first match would be Naruto versus Neji. So Naruto would make his way onto the field. As most people there are cheering Naruto, like they're cheering him because this boy has done some incredible feats, done high-ranked missions, and made a name for himself in the village. Like he's made a strong name for himself in the village. Most likely some people still said boo, and some people resented that Naruto was out there. Some people didn't have hopes that Naruto would win against Neji. Even Tenten would stand up and say that Naruto basically won't win against Neji, even though he's Uchiha. Uchiha will fall to Neji. Whatever she said, whatever kind of philosophy she put up. But I even think that you could use that scenario, but it would make more sense to see that Tenten would notice that Naruto was a top student in his classroom, and he was one student not to be basically underestimated, because if you did that, then you're gonna lose a battle against Naruto. I mean, you're not gonna get very far against this kid. Now, Naruto and Neji would make their way to the training field, and this is where Naruto would be looking at Neji, and Neji would be looking at Naruto, and Neji would be happy that he's fighting someone that's a prodigy such as himself. Now, Naruto would be like, well, I hope the so-called prodigy, has trained himself very effectively. I hope you still train to improve your skills, because I train, and I train damn hard. Hard work will make you stronger. People are not just born with overpowering abilities or the sense of techniques at birth. No, you hone those skills. What makes you a prodigy is that you learn fast. You can recuperate attacks fast. You can pick up on strategies fast. You can pick up on taijutsu fast. It doesn't make you any less of a prodigy than I am. Your skills versus my skills, Neji Hyuga. Let's see which one of us is stronger. Now, Neji would scoff at this and smile and say, I will defeat you right here, you Uchiha scum. You should have been wiped out with the rest of your clan. Now, this would send a vein in Naruto's head. And Naruto would look at Neji with his Sharingan spinning. And Neji would activate his Byakugan. And the both of them would jump back. Now, Naruto would have signature kunai in his hand. And this would shock the third Hokage. Well, not the third Hokage. This would shock the third Hokage. Would just open his eyes saying, now? Naruto would throw these at Neji. And Neji would be dodging each and every one of them. I mean, the Proctor already called the match. So let's get past that part. But Naruto would be throwing these these kunais at Neji. A lot of them. And Neji would just be dodging each and every one of them. Now, Naruto would smile and say, I got him. Now, this is where Neji would say, you suck at throwing kunai. I don't see how you passed the kunai throwing exam when you were in the academy. You can't even hit me. And Naruto would say, if I wanted to hit you, body flicker, and he was right behind Neji and kicked him to the ground, I could have killed you in an instant. Now, Neji would be like, hey, he's so fast. Now, Neji would be trying to follow against Naruto to picture where he was at, and Naruto was right in front of him and kicked Neji into a wall hard, sending a huge crater into it, possibly the boy almost going through the wall. Naruto would be right there and grab Neji by the collar, throw Neji up in the air, jump up into the air and do a spinning kick and kick Neji dead into the stomach, sending him spinning, darting towards the ground. Now, this would be heavily damaged on Neji's body, causing him some agonizing pain to the point he screamed a blood-curdling scream. Neji jumped up from the ground and was heavily damaged from that whole debacle. Now, Neji would instantly start to look at these kunai and say, What is this? What is this jutsu? Oh, this jutsu is the 4th Hokage special. It's called Flying Raijin. Why I have all these kunai scattered around here? I will be able to teleport anywhere. I basically can do that without the kunai, but it was just fun to basically recuperate my father's style. I mean, it was just fun to see you dodging kunai that I wasn't even trying to throw at you. That's the funny part, Neji. Now, Naruto would just be looking at Neji, and Neji would say, so all I have to do is just get rid of these kunai. You won't be able to teleport to them. And Naruto would say, you can do that. You can get rid of them. I mean, they're all useless now. I can just use them as weapons. And Neji would say, useless? Naruto would just activate, not activate. Naruto would just look down as his Sharingan is glowing. Neji, your life is in danger right now. You have no chance of winning this battle. I don't care what kind of Hyuga-style techniques you have or palm rotation you think you may have in your arsenal. I'm letting you know now that you are not going to win this battle. You have no chance. Your chances of winning are at 30% and dropping. Naruto looks at Neji, and Neji just gets angry and rushes at Naruto as Neji cannot perceive to hit Naruto. He's just teleporting all around Neji, punching him in the face, kicking him in the stomach. Neji does a palm rotation to the point where Naruto just jumps up into the air and lands back on the ground. Now Naruto shoots 2 large fireballs at Neji, and this way he says, Naruto says, I want to see if he keeps spinning. Now Neji would jump away from this, rolling on the ground as the fireballs just barely scathed his body, and he would be breathing heavily. Now Naruto would have said, so let me just tell you one thing. You were right with jumping away, but if you would have kept spinning, you would have been scorched to death and possibly have been dead. Now Naruto would have been looking at Neji with just a straight face with his Sharingan like wide eye. And this is where Neji would come to the conclusion that he forfeits. He gives up. He yields. He admits defeat. Because in that instant, Neji sensed death. If he would have kept spinning, that fire would have combined with his palm rotation and spent in a tornado-like fashion to the point it would have scorched Neji. And seeming as if that palm rotation is made out of wind chakra that Neji was using, I'm pretty sure that when that fire would have hit him, yeah. Anyway, Naruto would, Neji would admit defeat in this battle, seeming as if he doesn't have any chance of winning. And Naruto basically says, yes, ever since I put that mark on your back, you never stood a chance. Your chances, when you continued the battle, when I said they were dropping, you reached a 10% chance of beating me. Neji would have been shocked by this, and he would say, what kind of mark? I put a seal on your back. So no matter where you are or what you are going to do on this battlefield, what you think you were intended to do, you notice that I could have teleported in that little palm rotation dome that you created and ended your life right there. Just to be sure, just to let you know that. Now, Neji would fall on the ground, just fatigued from all the, battle damage that he took and all the pain. So Neji would fall on the ground and the medic team would come in and retrieve Neji. Now, the next battle would be Temari versus Sakura. Now, similar to her Shippuden outfit that Sakura donned, it will be donned very earlier on, and it wouldn't be as much of it being red. It would be like a bluish purple. Now, Sakura would say that she's learned a new water style jutsu, and she wants to see what Temari can do against it. She wants to see if Temari can keep up. Now, all the leaves will start to float around Temari and Sakura would be smiling at this. She'll be very calm-minded, moving with the wind, moving her arms in a water-like formation. Now, Sakura would instantly weave one hand sign with one hand, and she would start summon at least 10,000 water cherry blossom blades around her. She would look at Temari and say, I want to see if your wind is strong enough to beat me. Now, Temari would throw a huge gust of wind and shoot it towards Sakura to where it looked like Sakura got hit by it. All the water was blown away and Sakura got hit into the wall, basically crashing and going unconscious. Now, Temari would be like, all that and you were weak. Now, Kankuro would say, Temari, behind you! And Sakura would be right there, and she would have this pinkish, purplish chakra aura around her hand and hit Temari so hard in the back and kick Temari so hard in the face. Now this is where Sakura, all the blades that was around Temari would be swirling around her, and Sakura would say, you fell for it. Now, this is where Temari would try to use her fan, but Sakura had grabbed it, and the amount of strength that was in that one arm of Sakura, Temari couldn't even move her fan. And for a girl to hold this much power, she then looks at that Naruto kid. Temari has a sweat dropping, thinking he had something to do with making her this strong. And Temari instantly just got pelted with each one of these cherry blossom blades, rendering her unconscious and out of the match. Now Sakura would let go, and she would put her fist in the air saying, cha. She would be happy that she's won, and she would be happy that she's getting stronger. Thanks to Kurenai Sensei, Kakashi somewhat, a little bit, and then Naruto. Anyway, so we continue on with Sasuke going against Gaara. Now Sasuke would arrive late like he did in canon, but Sasuke would be very much in the same kind of uniform that he was in, but this Sasuke would be much of a problem due to his counterpart, his canon self. This time, this Sasuke has 3 Tomoe Sharingan in both eyes, and at this point, Sasuke has fully adapted, not at the mastery of Naruto, but he's fully adapted to his Sharingan. I'm telling you, he's fully adapted to his Sharingan. Now, And when I say not like on the mastery of Naruto, I mean Naruto's just had way more experience than Sasuke's had with his Sharingan. So Naruto's well equipped with his Sharingan, well past mastered his Sharingan, stuff like that. So Sasuke's still catching up. So Sasuke giving Gaara a very hard time and forcing Gaara to go into his whole sand dome thing. But Sasuke basically goes to a flying kick only to see that spikes are coming out of this whole defense and he backs away. Now, Sasuke basically creates lightning in his foot and stomps the ground saying Shidori Stream, electrocuting Gaara in that whole spear to where the sand exploded and Gaara is basically jittering around with electrocuting, can't pronounce that word, electricity basically staticking his body. Now Naruto rushes in, well not Naruto, Sasuke rushes in and uppercuts Gaara, jumps up in the air and kicks Gaara dead into a tree, sending Gaara like shooting through the tree. Now Naruto, why do I keep saying Naruto in certain situations? That's annoying. Sasuke goes over to look at Gaara that's on the ground, and Gaara stands up and hits Sasuke with a huge like Shukaku like arm. And Sasuke goes flying towards a wall, but catching himself slightly. Now Sasuke barely managed to dodge this as it came so fast, but his Sharingan, thanks to it being evolved, helped him. Now Sasuke would look at this and Gaara would just instantly growl at him and just jump over the wall. Now this is where the whole attack on Konoha begins. And yeah, I said this video was going to be 130 minutes when I did the editing and all that kind of stuff for. Yeah, this video turns out to be more likely 45 to like 50 minutes. Or like 45 to like 47 or 46, somewhere around that margin. Anyway, yeah, it's going to be pushed to a part 3. I mean, this series is too good. So just why like, you know, shoot through the whole thing like that? I mean, I know I said I was going to do the entirety of it, but my phone is acting up. It's having problems and everything. And yeah, it's just like I need to get a new phone. I just need to get a whole, you know, equipment set up. Anyway, so as the whole attack on Konoha has started, I'm trailing off. I like not ending the video. I still got like 10 more minutes to go. Anyway, so as the whole attack on Konoha getting ready to start, Hiruzen would instantly notice that Orochimaru is disguising himself as this like fourth Hokage, seeming as if he killed him. And this is where Naruto would instantly create a clone. As Hiruzen and Orochimaru basically towered off and they was getting ready to fight, Naruto created a clone before the Sound 4 could create that, like that whole spear, whatever they did, that whole wall thing. Naruto was already in there with his, like Naruto's clone was already in there with Hiruzen. And this is where Orochimaru would say, "How did he get in here?" And Hiruzen would say, "Naruto, did you put that mark on me?" And this is when Naruto would say, "Yeah, in case of situations like this. I knew this snake freak was going to try something, so I wanted to catch him again if this ever happened. He possibly had a vengeance out towards you, but I'm not going to let my teacher die." Naruto's clone activates his Sharingan, and this is where Orochimaru says, "You Uchiha, make me sick with that dojutsu of yours. Oh, won't you just let me take your body?" And Naruto would say, "That's gross, and you're weird." Now Naruto and Hiruzen will get into their fighting stance. Hiruzen getting into his armor, and Naruto basically just looking like getting his katana ready for Orochimaru. Now Sasuke and Sakura would be traveling after Gaara, and this is where Naruto is getting ready to go after them. He probably should. He's slowly debating it because the third Hokage, he's wondering if his clone could stand in that fight. His clone can manage to keep up with Orochimaru for a little bit, but he just wonders if it's gonna be enough. Now Naruto basically follows after Sasuke and Sakura, while leaving 10 clones in the village to help them out. Now, while Naruto is following Sasuke and Sakura, he basically stops and contemplates, should I help them? Am I going to get in the way of their growth? This should be a battle for them. Naruto basically gathers up his chakra, but basically summoning his chakra and asks the Nine-Tail, can he help him out for a little bit? The Nine-Tail says yes and gives Naruto some amp of chakra, turning Naruto's eyes red. Now, Naruto's not using his Sharingan. His eyes are slit, like his nails are extended, and Naruto's basically teleporting very fast, like simultaneously, all over the village and dispatching a lot of people, like beating the shit out of them. And, well, not too much like he's killing them. He's just beating the hell out of them, telling them that you attacked the wrong village. And as Naruto's doing this, he sees that his clone is managing almost about to be dispersed. And he says that he needs to help the Lord Third. He needs to help them before something bad happens. And this is where Naruto instantly teleports in there just as his clone dispersed, and Hiruzen was on the back foot fighting the third Hokage, like the third Hokage, but the second Hokage and the first Hokage. Naruto teleports in there and instantly, but this time Naruto activates his Mangekyo Sharingan, but this time Naruto basically strains his eyes to the point to where a new power manifests. This black flame starts to swirl around Orochimaru and burning him senseless as Orochimaru starts to scream out in pain. Now, this is where Naruto tells Hiruzen to seal the first Hokage and the second Hokage, and Hiruzen does so. Now, this is where Naruto tells Orochimaru to get out of this village. And the Sound Four, sorry, I had to swallow that. The Sound Force sees Orochimaru. They see how much he's struggling. They see that this kid in there put him in some kind of like trance that Orochimaru is roasting alive. And he tells them that if you come in here, you four are going to die easily. Naruto looks at them with anger in his eyes as his eye is bleeding, and he closed his right eye as it's bleeding. Naruto looks at them with his Mangekyo Sharingan in his left still active, and warns them, he dares them to join in. Now, as Orochimaru is roasting alive, he's basically has no counter to this kind of jutsu. He does this whole shakes net skin and jumps out, and he looks at Naruto and he says, "You keep getting in my way. What do you care about this old man? He's put this village through hell." Now, Naruto and Orochimaru will get into a taijutsu battle with each other. A huge taijutsu battle, and Hiruzen's joining in too. And he grabbed that long stick and whacked Orochimaru ass with it. And sending him straight through the Hokage's office. Now, this is where the Sound Force would deactivate the whole barrier. They would deactivate the barrier and jump in there and grab Orochimaru, seeming as if Orochimaru is not finna win this battle. He's heavily outmatched right now. He's going against the Hokage and a highly skilled Chunin. At this point, Orochimaru, they don't know how much skill that this guy has, but they think if they join in, or they might have a chance. And this is where Naruto basically tells them that if you don't leave this village, I'm going to execute you all. I will. And I mean, I will protect my village. Now, Naruto starts to strain his eyes even more. And when I mean more, he starts to create like a rib cage that has this huge blade. Like this, it creates a hand and has a blade in his hand. And Naruto looks at them with veins in his eyes. And this is where they say, we have to escape now. Jirobo comes in to try and punch one of the ribcage, punch Naruto, but the ribcage basically nullified his whole attack. Now, Jirobo gets a sword straight through his chest. And this is where Naruto sheds a tear. He cries because he warned him. He doesn't like doing this. This is putting him in the same position that people who fought in the war or previous bandit scoundrels have been in. Naruto doesn't like doing this, but he's protecting his village. If it's for his village, the village comes first. The lives of his people comes first, and these people are putting them in danger. So Naruto really doesn't have a choice. Now, the other three sees this and grabs Orochimaru and leaves immediately. They do not want to challenge this. They do not want to present to be a challenge to this. Jirobo got cocky and got he got backed into a corner or something like that, or he felt territory, he felt backed into a corner and he challenged Naruto and got killed. So they're not going to get into this whole mix. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. This video happens to be around 54 to 55 minutes long, somewhere around that margin. But anyway, you guys have a good day, a good night, and plus ultra. The like goal will be 200 likes. If you can reach that, I'll put out part 3. And part 3 will be the final video. I'm not going to try to push like this into like a 4-part or like 4 parts, 6 parts, and nothing like that. No, part 3 is going to be the final part to this video. It's a lot to, it's a lot to talk for this long. You feel me? Like talking for hours long, I got to get used to that. So I'm slowly warming up to that. So when I do specials like this, I can talk for 2 hours long, 3 hours long. You feel me? But I'm slowly warming up to it. So be patient with me. Give me time. I'm going to release stuff. But when I see that stuff get this long, yeah, it's like it's exhausting. Anyway, plus Ultra, you guys have a good night.